What's next?
Let's talk about Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's coming out this. I feel like there's a ton of shit coming out this year that because it's like Mando season 3. Ahsoka is coming out this year. I think Skeleton Crew with Jude Law is later.
I think so. Yeah.
Fuck. What is that other one? Acolyte. Star Wars Acolyte.
Oh yeah, that's coming eventually.
I think it's coming this year. I'm almost positive it's coming this year. So I'll look up a list. Shizi says that's a great point about Luke and the ending of season 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I remember when that happened and I texted you and I was like, have you seen it yet? And you were like, no. And I was like, don't go online. Don't go on Twitter. Don't go online.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A while back, it was reported that Ivana Sakno, who's an actress who was in Pacific Rim Uprising, I guess, had been cast for Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
We have rumors now that she is playing a character named Shin, who is, I guess, a dark-sided Force user who's associated with the Night Sisters of Dathomir in some way.
Yeah.
And may be the apprentice of Balon, who's a former Jedi who survived Order 66.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's important to point out, I think, here that this is a rumor.
Yes. None of this is confirmed. This is all internet rumors. It could all be lies.
Yeah. This also comes from a really weird. So this rumor comes from making Star Wars, who's run by a guy who's kind of disgusting and is a terrible human being. But he knows people that work at Disney, so it's like. When he puts something out, you kind of have to like look at it at least. But it's important to point out this is just a rumor. Like we don't actually know if this is a thing or not. And I think that this is an interesting. The whole thing about her being associated with another Jedi that survived Order 66, I think, is really interesting. Especially so last night was the part of the Jedi Order playthrough where. You like relive Order 66 through Cal Kestis, and we're talking about how last night like every Star Wars fan has some kind of PTSD about that event because especially if you saw Episode 3 in theaters like I did.
Oh God, yeah.
And like every time it comes up again, it gets worse and worse. Like in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it feels like a school shooting. Like it just gets worse and worse and more terrible and more terrible. So it's like I'm always up for them kind of like delving into that as a source a source of crazy trauma for Jedi. The other thing though is like you can't like every Jedi in the universe can't have survived Order 66.
Yeah. So the number of Jedi was never very high.
Yeah. 10,000.
It was 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000. Yeah. Which might sound like a ton, but you consider that there are trillions of beings in this universe. It's not that many.
I think there wasn't even a Jedi for every inhabited world of the Republic.
Yeah, nope.
That's how few there were.
Mm-hmm.
And so telling these stories about Jedi who somehow survived Order 66, you have to remember that they're the exceptions. They're the ones that didn't get immediately gunned down by their clone troopers as soon as the order went out.
Rip Candy.
So... yeah.
His wives are probably very sad.
For more reasons than one.
Yeah, they miss his dick.
But the point is, at some point, Lucas is going to have to stop telling stories about Jedi who survived Order 66, or it becomes comical how many managed to get out.
Yeah, I think this is why, like, the next time they go into a film trilogy or another film, it's going to be some other part of the Star Wars era, because they've just about saturated this part of the story with characters and things. I think
so. Yeah. We also didn't really talk about this, but the rumor mentions the Night Sisters of Dathomir specifically, and that's kind of an interesting specific point of lore. You're talking about Fallen Order.
Yeah, we just ran into that. You remember the fucking testicles open and the zombies fall out of them? Like that's the part that happened to me last night. So.
Oh yeah.
Also, that level is really hard for me. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what it is. The Night Brothers always like kick my ass when I do the playthrough.